Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Please Listen with John Follett, the only podcast for people who have never won a game of Monopoly. Fucking Monopoly. I've got traumatic memories of Monopoly, as I'm sure most of us do. It's not even I wouldn't even call it a game. It's not a fun game because it's not even a game. It's just a sad reflection of reality, okay? It's just all that game is the upper class bullying those who are less successful, less fortunate than them. Oh, I own all these properties. Oh yeah, now you gotta fucking pay this much to stay at my place. And you don't own as much properties as me? Go fucking bankrupt. Loser. That Monopoly mascot, that mustachioed little bald-headed fuck. When the communist revolution happens, he's the first one. I'm lighting him on fire. Okay? I'm jumping him at Indiana Avenue, the Monopoly man. When I was a kid, I played a fuck ton of Monopoly. I don't know if I played it right most of the time. If I was playing it with like my siblings, we probably like played it like a little bit of an abridged version. Because getting into like all the mortgaging and like the selling this stuff when you're out of money, too complicated for a child. But I think I played a lot because of the Monopoly set that we had was themed off of Spider-Man 3, and it was fucking awesome. I used that one like to death. It had like the pieces were like Spider-Man like hanging off a pole. I think there was probably Sandman. There was probably fucking New Goblin there. I don't remember the other ones, but like all the boards were based off of things from Spider. I think it was all the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies, but I really only remember the parts that are based on Spider-Man 3. Peter Parker's apartment, Norman Osborn's lair, Aunt May's G-spot, like shit like that. Like that's what they were all based off of that. I thought it was so fucking cool because I love those movies. I think I still own that exact board. I wonder if that goes for a lot on eBay. I mean, I'm missing like half the things, but I guess it's not in mint condition, But like I think like games like that, games like family games. I say family with quotations because that's not a family game. A game like Monopoly, because you can't expect kids to understand like how to even play it. Like no kid, like it's not a family game. It's a game for parents to play and fucking destroy their kids at and make them cry. That's what the game is for. Because the adults they know infinitely more about saving money, fucking resource management, budgeting, shit like that. Little kids don't know anything. They want to buy the one that sounds cool to them. Or like that was me. I always wanted to buy like the parts from Spider-Man 3 that I liked the most. I think I'm trying to remember more pieces. Maybe like Bonesaw's wrestling ring. Maybe that was one of them. The kids don't know anything about that. It's just meant to make kids cry and to make them freak out. And, I mean, I can't even tell you how many games were never able to end. They never ended officially. They only ended because all the players quit because they got too upset with it. That's why I don't like calling it a family game. It's not. Uno is a family game. That's more fun. That's kind of like, it's easier to understand. I'm doing pretty good these past few days. The last 2 nights, I watched 2 films, one on each night. And I started reading. I went back to reading comics. I started reading comics again. I renewed my Marvel Unlimited subscription, and I picked up right where I left off. I was in the middle of. I was reading the Civil War run, and the app has like, not sponsored, but the app has like, I guess you call it like a playlist or like a collection of like all comics in a run. Because when like an event's going on, like a big event, it kind of happens across multiple different runs. Like like an Iron Man run, and then was like the main one, and then it's like, oh, Iron Man. It also takes place during that time, and the New Avengers. That's another run that's taking place during that, and so you just kind of like read each issue. It's vaguely in order. Some things happen like at the same time, or like part of it happens before another comic, and then a part of it happens after that comic. So you just have to you have to read it all afterwards, because comics are like designed to like be like self-contained within each issue a lot of the time, and within each run. So like you don't really have to know. If you don't know, they'll explain the stuff that you don't know if you aren't reading it all at the same time. That was kind of my my technique when it came to reading comics, because I started like a year ago, and obviously there's 1 billion comics out. I'm not going to get to read all of them, and everyone's always like, where do I start? And I was kind of like that. So I've kind of just been doing like the big events where all the heroes cross over with each other, like the famous ones. I think I started with a very recent one. I started with Devil's Reign, because I heard about that being like the inspiration for the show, and I was like, I gotta check that out. And that Devil's Reign is fucking amazing. I really like that. I think the art is amazing. I always loved the art. I liked who's the artist in the Chip Zdarsky Daredevil run? Whoever that artist is, I fucking love his art. I have screenshots of pages that I thought were amazing, that I just keep on just so I can look at them and be like, that is art right there. So I read that, and then other events were like, I did Secret Invasion, the one where all the Skrulls come and they do stuff. Planet Hulk and World War Hulk, because I've heard about those ones all the time. And now I stopped halfway through Civil War, and now I'm reading Civil War. Very different from the movie, as many have pointed out. Very different. And I went back, and I other runs that I've been reading have been like the original like debuts of a lot of characters, like Fantastic Four. I read like the first ever issues of Fantastic Four, of Spider-Man, Thor, I think, Hulk. When I was in middle school, I would read a lot of comics. I would go to, there was a library. I lived by a library. And I would go to the library, and I would just pick out, in a little corner, there was like one shelf dedicated to comic books. Or maybe it was like 2 shelves. I would just pick out ones that I liked. I only read DC at that time, though. I wouldn't read any Marvel ones. And yeah, I would pick some out, and I would go and I would read them. And they would have like the ones where it's like a big book of like all the issues, like the full storyline. I thought that was great. Anyway, I mean, with that, it's kind of like, because sometimes you'll read something, they'll have a book, and they won't have the rest of it. So I'll just read something like in the middle of the story, and I won't get like any conclusion to that. I don't know, I was just fine reading it. So yeah, that's what I've been doing. I've been reading comic books, but I don't say the second part. I say I just tell people that I'm reading. I've been reading a lot recently, and they're like impressed, and they're like, "Oh wow, this guy's smart. This guy's mature, and he's intelligent. And he reads." Okay, everyone, it's time to talk about a new season of television that just finished airing, and that is HBO's The Last of Us Season 2. Just full disclosure, I'm vaguely familiar with the story of the games. I haven't played the games. I think when I was a few years ago, maybe early high school, whenever the second game came out, I watched some Let's Plays of it. Certain parts, but I barely remember that. The thing that I know most about both of the games is their endings. I'm quite familiar with The Last of Us 2's ending because it has a scene that I really like. And yeah, and I watched season 1, really enjoyed season 1. I love season 1. I think season 1, honestly, like I think 8 out of 9 episodes had me bawling my eyes out. Like, like that was just like guaranteed. Whenever I turned those on, I was ready to cry. And that being said, just so you know, nothing that I'm gonna try not to compare anything to the games, because I feel like everywhere you see, whenever you go to see like a discussion about anything related to the show, everyone's always comparing it to the games and what the games did. I understand that this is like kind of a direct adaptation, but it's like let's not do that. I don't think review by comparison is a good practice. And yeah, I feel like a lot of people conflate the show doing something different from the games with the show doing something worse than the games. Because from what I know, it's done a lot of things different from the games, but I still think that for the most part, what it did really worked. And like everything these days, there is just this giant fucking storm cloud hanging over any discussion of the show with idiots that talk about stuff that doesn't even matter. A lot of it relating to Bella Ramsey. The discussions of the show have just been so fucking poisoned by this group of people. And in looking into discussions about this show, just wanting to know like what people's thoughts were, I've discovered a subreddit. And it's fucking, I mean, it's Reddit, so you already know it's like not the best people, not the best group of people there. But it's a subreddit called The Last of Us 2. It's not about the game The Last of Us Part 2. It's a subreddit of people that got banned from the main subreddit, so they made a sequel subreddit so that they could, if you scroll on there, it's just people, a lot of it is just people making fun of Bella Ramsey's appearance. It's losers, like they're taking pictures of their TV screen of like frames where Bella Ramsey's like kind of making like a silly face because it's like she's like mid motion, or they is like mid like doing something. It's like I can just imagine this guy being like just the random Redditor just pausing at random moments of like be like, oh, got one, like getting their phone out and walking up to their TV and just being like, they're gonna fucking love this. They're gonna fucking love this one. It's so pathetic. It's sad to see. Anyways, now let's talk about the show itself, shall we? I think that's a good idea. That's what we should do. Spoilers for The Last of Us, Season 1, Season 2, and probably both the games. I will say that I don't think that it is as good as the first season, which is not even to say that this second season's bad. I will say that Season 1 is like probably one of my favorite seasons of television. And I do have mostly positive things to say about this season. I will say though, it does feel like part of a story, this one, as opposed to the first season. And maybe it's because I know that it's part of a story, because it's from what I know, I think they're splitting the second game, because the second game is really long. They're splitting it into 3 seasons. I think 2, 3, and 4 are going to be the story of the second game. I think season 3 is mostly going to be based around Abby and what she's been up to. And so it does feel like there weren't really many satisfying like narrative conclusions to that. I feel like they attempted to have kind of a through line of the wolves versus the Seraphites, but with that, it's like I see. It's hard for me to say because it's like Jeffrey Wright shows up in this. I love Jeffrey Wright. Jeffrey Wright, he's great. He's in the Batman. He's in other stuff I've seen him in probably. I don't know why I can only name the Batman. And I feel like 80% of my discussion and my thoughts about this show is just going to be me going, let's give it up for this actor's performance, guys. Like that's great, because I mean the show is just made up of great actors giving great performances. But Jeffrey Wright's in it, and he's kind of a cool character. I liked his introduction. I like the scenes that he's in. But then he never interacts with Ellie or like any of our main characters. And that's why it's hard for me to like to say that as a negative, because I'm sure he's gonna interact with Abby, and because he knows Abby. They're both the wolves. So it's kind of hard for me to criticize things knowing that this was made as kind of like a first part. But then I compare it to something that is also the first half of something, of a full story, like Across the Spider-Verse. That movie was made with the intention that it was part one to a larger story. But that movie feels more complete and more of like a full narrative. Even if you weren't going to have the next movie, it still feels like very satisfying. I know some people might disagree with me, but I think that movie, I think what they did was really smart. What they're doing is actually very smart, but it's also very dangerous. But never mind. But they had the thing at the beginning with Gwen, like they had Gwen's story of like with her dad and stuff like that. So that was kind of, because since Miles' story isn't getting like the full conclusion, they would have at least Gwen got the payoff of the thing. I think that was like the way to do it if you're going to do a part one of these things. And I feel like they could have done that in this. I will say that it kind of felt like they did that, like that's why they pushed the this is a big spoiler, but the scene at the end of the game on the porch scene, probably the most famous scene from that movie. I think that's why they put it in this season. Like that's kind of like the Joel thing is kind of what they kind of blanketed over this season as to kind of like give like a full, at least that's resolved, right? They tried to do that, but with like everyone else, like with like the Abby and the, I don't know, just that full thing. None of that was like very conclusive, because it's not supposed to be, which I don't know. It's half a negative and half kind of like, I know that that's their intention. Speaking of people's performances, I thought Isabella Merced was so great as Dina. She was alive in this world of undead clickers. She felt so alive. You know, she was a bright light in the dark tunnel. That didn't really work, but she did so great. She was like this, because Dina's like this like bubbly, like sociable person, and she did like a great job of portraying that. Catherine O'Hara, the woman from Beetlejuice, she plays a therapist in this, therapist Gail. And we got one of my favorite things in all of television history. We got a therapy scene with Joel. I fucking love therapy scenes in shows, dude. There's Atlanta has a great one. Fleabag, The Sopranos. That's like the whole fucking show is just therapy scenes. I love it. I love it so much. It's like, it's a perfect way to like know what your characters are feeling. Not even from what they say, but from what they don't say. Especially with this Joel scene, what he doesn't say, like it tells you so much. And she has like this technique. I think it's in the first episode, and is their therapy scene. She does this thing where she's like, and spoilers, but she's like, "You killed my husband, Eugene, and I hate you for that." And I'm like, God damn, this lady's a fucking bad therapist. What are you telling him this for? But the whole point of that is just to say something, no matter how damaging it might be to the person you're telling it to, as a way to like get Joel to say what's on his mind. And obviously what's on his mind is the fact that he could have saved the human race, but he chose to save Ellie. And I don't know, I thought it was a really great, well-crafted scene to put in my collection of therapy scenes that I like. I have a little sack of therapy scenes I like. I'm going to put that in there. And in Pedro Pascal in this, I mean, he's great as always. I think it's a travesty losing Joel, especially now that he's played by Pedro Pascal. I think it's just so sad because he's so great. But they do a great job of making him look just so old in this episode, or in this show. And he's like 60 years old in the show, Joel. And he just looks so old and fat and gray. Like, God damn, does Pedro Pascal really look like that? And then I see him in the Fantastic Four. I'm like, oh, he looks great. And now I saw him, like, props to the makeup artist and the designers for, like, making him look so decrepit and old. It really sells it. It sells a lot of it. Later on in the season, we see what Gail is talking about with Joel killing her husband Eugene, and Eugene is played by Joe I wrote his name down. Pantoliano. Joe Pantoliano. That guy, he's great. He's in The Sopranos. He's also in The Matrix. He's a great fucking actor. He's also in 2003 Daredevil. Love that guy. Joe Pantoliano. And his scene and his little story thing is so great. It has this one part where it's just a close up on Joe Pantoliano's face, and he does all the acting with his eyes, and it's so great because you see Joel's about to kill him because he gets bit, and Eugene wants to see his wife Gail, and Joel's like, if you really love someone, you always see her face, or something like that. And Eugene's looking out at this like oasis, this river, and then you watch his face as his eyes go from looking at what's in front of him to imagining his wife's face. He's like, I see her. Then he gets fucking killed and shot. I think it's a great scene, and it's a great way to, it parallels with what Joel does at the end of season 1 with the whole Ellie thing. I think it's a great way to have Ellie kind of realize or confirm that Joel fucking did that shit. He killed that doctor. 100%. 400%. At Salt Lake. I would say that the season kind of starts and ends really great. Episodes 1 and 2 are great, and 6 and 7 are great. And it's kind of like dull in the middle. I would say, what is it? 3, 4, and 5. They all kind of blend together, and it's hard for that not to happen because it's all set in the same place. Because episode 3, it's in Jackson, but then they start their trek through Seattle, and then the rest all the way through 5 is all in Seattle. So they kind of all mush together. You may think, it's surprising. You may think that like Seattle was like a set or like a green screen. That's just what it fucking looks like. That's just what Seattle looks like. It's kind of crazy. You would think that they would like touch it up a bit with like some apocalyptic stuff, but that's just what what it looks like there. I've never been to Seattle. I don't know. It's probably a beautiful city. I thought that would be funny. A funny joke. But yeah, episode 6, many people would probably say is a highlight. I don't know because it's features just Pedro Pascal's back, and it just features him and Joel, or no, not him and Joel, him and Ellie, and they're father-daughtering it up. They're just buddies. That classic dynamic from season 1, obviously up until Ellie realizes that Joel's he did that shit 400%, 500%. Guys, I didn't even mention that fucking Tony Dalton is in this show. He plays Joel's dad in a flashback at the beginning of episode 6. Are you kidding me? How did I forget that? Lalo Salamanca, Jack Duquesne, the swordsman. Fuck. Oh, God, dude. But yeah, he was pretty good. His scene was nice. Serves as I like seeing Joel's backstory. I don't think that was anything. I don't know how much of that's been explored ever. But yeah, I thought that was cool, and I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry for my lapse in judgment of forgetting that he was in this for the short time that he was. Anyways, yeah, I just wanted to say that. Back to what was irregularly scheduled programming. And this is the scene that features, or this episode that features the famous porch scene. They do a little fake out, because in episode 1, I think episode 1 or episode 2, I don't remember. They have the scene at the get together where Joel pushes that guy that says the lesbian slur, and then Ellie gets mad, and then Joel's playing guitar on the porch, and Ellie walks up, then she walks past. And when I saw that, I was like, are they changing it? But then I was like, I know it's gonna happen. They're gonna cut back and she walks back, and that's exactly what they did. I fucking predicted that right. Because they weren't just gonna not include the porch scene. And in episode 6, they have the rest of the scene when Ellie walks back, and they do this scene on the porch. I don't know anything about the games, but for some reason I go back and I watch that scene all the time because I think it's so great. The scene on the porch in the show is just so amazing, and I think that like those moments are like really where Bella Ramsey's performance shines, because I mean it was because she's like, I don't know, like her crying and her like going on about her purpose was supposed to be for her to die to save all these people, because she's wiping snot from her nose and her face is all shiny with tears, and Pedro Pascal's crying and he looks so fucking old and decrepit. I think it all works so well. And I don't know how the rest of the seasons are gonna go, but I think placing it there it worked really great with the rest of the episode. So I understand why they did it. Once Ellie starts she starts getting like she starts letting that devil out. Like she kind of gets like a little scary, right? And she's kind of getting more vengeful and more crazy, right? I think that's also where Bella Ramsey like gives a really great performance, because I think one of the first scenes of episode 7, like right when Ellie comes back from beating the shit out of that one girl, and I think Dina's like wiping all the scarring on her back or something, and she's like relaying like what happened. She's doing this like she's like whispering like, maybe she didn't deserve it. Like it's kind of like fucking. I'm like, oh my god, someone fucking better call someone about that. Like she's getting scary there. I think Bella, they really sell it that like great, of like the kind of just like losing humanity. Oh fuck, dude, I totally forgot in my notes about episode 7, the scene with Mel, the scene with Mel and Owen. Oh my, that is the most. I'm gonna recap what happens just to jog your memory, because I totally forgot about it until I saw that. Maybe because it's just traumatic. I don't know. But Ellie shows up to the aquarium, and she finds Owen and Mel, the guys that were with Abby when she killed Joel. And she's fucking holding a gun to him, and she's like, "Where's Abby?" And Owen's like, "I'll tell you." Owen's a little fucking rat. I fucking hate him. I'm so glad that he dies. He reaches for a gun, obviously. He tries to shoot her, but then Ellie shoots Owen. The bullet goes right through his neck. And there's like the reveal that the bullet went through him, and it went into like the wall behind him. But it also grazed Mel's neck. It hit her right in an artery. And she falls down, she starts bleeding out, and she's like, "Get a knife." And she opens up her jacket, and she's pregnant. And oh my god, what goes after that is like the most. It's so devastating. Just watching her like watching Mel give these soft, like kind of supportive comments, thinking that Ellie is cutting the baby out of her, as she's just like the life is just losing her she's losing the life in her eyes. And yeah, I don't know, that really stuck with me. One other thing that this show does that it's kind of a pet peeve of mine, but it's not the show's fault, because this is another thing that I've seen in other places, is that they'll have, because Ellie and Dina, they're like a couple. Whichever the person is that's more of like the feminine role in the relationship, I'll say, because which I would say is Dina in this scenario. They're always like so, I don't know, they're so like submissive in a sense. They're kind of just like to the more, I'm just gonna say the guy in this scenario. I'm gonna pretend that Ellie is the guy in this relationship. They're always so just like, you're so great. You can't do anything wrong. You're amazing. You don't need to apologize. That's the thing that happened in The Bear with Claire. She says in one scene she's like, "Don't ever apologize for anything." It's like, are you? This is kind of like a, I don't know. It feels like the writer's like perfect dream girl that just like, don't ever apologize. You can do no wrong. You're so amazing and perfect. I know that's kind of like the part of that's kind of in the Bear. It kind of serves like a function of, especially in an apocalypse. This one person being like, you can do no wrong. Hey, don't be sorry. Don't ever be sorry. You're great. We're both so great. But it just like, it didn't feel like there was any conflict between them, because like even if Ellie did something like irresponsible or stupid, like Dina would still be like, it's okay. You're still great. I get that they like each other. Okay. But they could still, they could still like disagree on some things. That's why like when Jesse showed up in episode 7, because he brought in some conflict. Him and Ellie were kind of butting heads. Young Mazzino plays Jesse, by the way, in this. And if you don't know, he plays the brother in Beef. Steven Yeun's younger brother in Beef. Beef, by the way, is one of the greatest shows of all time. And can I tell you something about young Mazzino? Or Mazzino? I don't know how to pronounce his name. This fucking guy. I saw a clip of this guy in an interview. Either like Jimmy Kimmel or Jimmy Fallon or one of those guys. Playing guitar. This fucking guy, he plays Out Getting Ribs by King Cruel on the guitar on this talk show.
I'm going to play the intro to this really cool song called Out Getting Ribs.
To young Mazzino, that's my fucking move, okay? Don't you fucking dare, okay? Trying to swoon the audience. Oh, I played this song. Oh, look at me. I'm so cool, and I'm a famous actor in The Last of Us. Stop it. Don't play that song. That's my thing. Stop that. You have everything else. Stop. You're stealing my thunder, dude. Like this fucking guy, like the audacity of this guy to think that he's like, you can't have everything, okay, young? Please. Anyways, yeah, those are my thoughts on The Last of Us season 2. Overall, great. Great, good, really good. I'll see in the following seasons. I'll see if things click into place. They probably will. I don't know how they're gonna do season 3. Are they gonna do just like mostly like 90% Abby? It'll be weird, like, I don't know, it'll be weird like marketing wise to have the marketing just be completely focused on like totally different characters and not like Ellie and Joel like this season was. That's all my thoughts on The Last of Us season 2, and that's it for this week's episode. Thank you all for listening.